let's go ahead and get into the first step of meal planning, and that is to create a space of time. And now that might be kind of like, really? That seems kind of simple and obvious. But, and it is, but you have to remember the kind of culture that we're in. And we live in an instant culture. You know, put a Google search in and you have got 5 million results in a nanosecond. We've got Instacart to deliver your groceries instantly. We've got Instagram to share with your friends instantly. You can make instant copies. You can send an email to somebody and it gets delivered instantly. We've come to live in a culture that just expects instantaneousness. And now, of course, you know that that's not I mean, in your brain, you know that's not right. And that, of course, things take time. But we just kind of have this underlying myth in our culture that's kind of hard to get around. And so when it's time for you to plan your meals, you kind of got to push that aside and say, no, this is my time to plan my meals. What's going on here too is that this is where you're starting to see maybe that mindset piece. Do you remember I told you that there's some mindset barriers that keep us from our meal planning? And time is a big one. I've faced this all my entire career in this field is, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time. So I want to share with you, and it's a big issue, and we're going to deal with it more in class 4, but I want to share with you a couple of beginning thoughts to just start thinking about, okay? And the first of those is that it always, I mentioned this earlier, but it always saves more time than it takes to meal plan. And so what you can see here on this chart is that you can spend, here's our 20 minutes to plan instead of worrying 60 minutes over a week about what you're going to eat, but spend 20 minutes to plan. And all of a sudden that builds up all the way down the process to saving up to an hour and a half of time. So Sandra, when you talk about time savings, you can see how this can add up over your week for each 3 to 4 day period that you plan. Then second, you have to understand that when we plan, it's not so much that we're not just taking time, but we're actually just rearranging our time and investing our time. In other words, instead of racing into the kitchen at 6 o'clock and spending 20 minutes futzing and putzing around trying to figure out just what we're going to make, instead we rearrange our time so that, say, the day before, when you have a moment of calm, you take 10 minutes and you can quickly create a plan. That frees up 10 minutes that you can devote to your cooking. And I call this the investment theory of good health. In other words, you're not wasting time. You're not even just spending time. You're investing time. And just like any good investment, you get rewards. And in this case, you get more time to prepare the healthy meals that you and your body really crave. And then a couple other little things is just, I call it a universal law is that good things take time. And I know you'd love me a lot more if I just said, oh, don't worry, meal planning doesn't take any time at all. But that's just a myth. I mean, and that's a lie to you. Good things do take time. And conversely, no good thing happens in no time. You put nothing into an endeavor and you get nothing out of it. But again, like I was saying earlier, if you just give the time that it takes, you're going to find that it doesn't take nearly as long as you think. And you'll be able to do it really quickly and efficiently. And then the fourth thing to remember is just that this is a creative endeavor. You're going to be looking at a blank piece of paper and somehow coming up with meal ideas that satisfy all your different needs. That takes some creativity. And another universal law, these are all from Mary's Universal Laws of the Kitchen. Another one is that our brains just can't be creative when they're under pressure. And if you come into the kitchen at 5:30, you're starving, your family's starving, you're trying to come up with something, you can be sure that the creative side of your brain is just not going to work. And that's why, Marcia's saying, yeah, we just end up kind of grabbing some takeout. And so that's why another reason why this space of time to give your brain time to be creative and fill those blanks is so critical. Now today, and for each workshop, happily, this is your creative space of time. That was the point of this workshop, is to give you that creative space of time. So that's all taken care of. So now that's your first step, is creating that space of time to plan your meals.